Demand for 90% silver, 90% junk silver, like these quarters right here, has to be nearing rock bottom. I have never really seen anything like this in my decades of being around precious metals. And I just got back from vacation and I wanted to take a look at what the market was doing and what premiums were on things like 10-ounce bars and silver eagles and 1-ounce rounds, and of course 90% silver. And one thing I noticed is even from when I left for vacation to when I got back, it seems like the premiums have dropped even more. For example, I called 5 different dealers, and I know these slides are boring, so we're gonna go through them really fast. Our first dealer had 90% at $27.30 per ounce. Now I had spot at $37.50, and keep in mind, we're recording this on Tuesday, August 19th, but based on that, that is 72 cents only, 72 cents an ounce over spot. That is $38.22 per ounce. Our second dealer had it at $27.50. That is only 96 cents an ounce over spot, or $38.46. Look at our third dealer, below spot. Or it's possible that they had spot at $37.42 when I made the call, but $37.42 comes out to $26.76 per dollar, or 8 cents an ounce back of spot based on $37.50. That is incredible. We had our fourth dealer at just 30 cents an ounce over spot. They quoted me $27 per dollar. And finally, our fifth dealer at $27.15, or just 51 cents an ounce over spot. But it is not just local dealers that are having specials on 90% silver like this. For example, my channel sponsor SC Bullion has 90% silver quarters in $10 face rolls and $100 face bags for just melt price. And because of the value, both of these actually qualify for free shipping on orders over $199. And of course, I'm going to show them because they are my channel sponsor, but there are other bullion dealers out there as well doing the exact same thing. I've been browsing the internet and noticed that 90% quarters, dimes, and even half dollars are getting really, really cheap. And that means one thing: there is very, very low demand. And I want to show you one other thing. Don't tune away. We're actually going to look at a wholesaler's website and see what they are selling it to dealers for right now. And I'm going to tell you as a hint, it's quite a bit below spot. But what is driving this lack of interest in 90% silver? Now, personally, I love stacking 90% silver, but I do get some of the worry that many people have. And one of those is, if we kind of shuffle through my quarters, you get stuff like this. Now, this is a barber quarter. I totally understand that. But we also have this Washington quarter right here, and here's another one. And here is a Standing Liberty as well, that have significant wear. And one thing people tend to worry about, I see in the comments, is when they order random 90% silver coins like this, they are paying per dollar face value, but sometimes they're not getting the full 0.715 ounces. Now, in past videos, I have tested buying, $10 face, $500 worth from a certain dealer based on, the spot price. That was actually a recent video. And we weighed it out, and we did determine that on average, I do get the 0.715. But there is a legitimate worry that if you got all quarters that looked like this, and none of them that looked like this, you would not get your 0.715 ounces per dollar. And that is something that I do totally admit is a concern, which is why a lot of people like to go into shops and at least see what they're getting, so they don't wind up with coins like this that have no rim, and this one's even missing most of Liberty. That's actually pretty hard to do on a Washington quarter, because if you look on a new one, you can see it's like in the relief of the coin. So you would have to wear the rim down first and the head down along with it. Look at the difference between these. Now, of course, that is not the only concern that I'm hearing. And in fact, many people have told me they are worried about the sellback price. In other words, getting a fair shake when they go to sell their 90% back. And that is a legitimate concern, because I called those same 5 coin shops back about an hour and a half later. So maybe spot moved a little bit, but I am basing what they told me on $37.50. So the first shop offered us $24 for our 90% silver. That is spot minus $3.93. Again, or so. It may have been different than $37.50. Dealer number 2 offered us $24.50 per dollar. That is $34.27 per ounce, or a premium of minus $3.23. And dealer number 3 said the exact same thing, $24.50. Now remember, dealer number 3 was the cheapest one. They were selling it at basically melt. Now, dealer number 4 offered us only $23 per dollar. That is $32.17 per ounce, or a reverse premium of $5.33. And our final shop offered us $25 per ounce, or per dollar, I mean. That is $34.97 per ounce, or a premium of minus $2.53. In other words, you're going to lose $2.53 per ounce when you sell your 90% silver back to the shop. But keep in mind, that is only a concern if your plan is to sell it back right away. If you believe in silver as a long-term hold, and your plan is to hold the silver until you actually need it, or until silver shows its true value, which who knows if that'd be on our lifetime, you should be just fine. Because remember, as I said in the video just the other day, my primary reason for stacking silver is to get my savings out of the ever-inflating US dollar. And if you haven't seen that video yet, I recommend you go watch it, because I gave a really good analogy using $100 bills all the way down to the $1 bill. Now, if you are one of the people whose primary concern is what you'll get for it when you go and try and sell it back, and again, I agree with that concern, keep in mind that there is something else you can watch besides just spot price. You can also keep an eye on market demand, because while 90% silver demand is really low, that's kind of the point of this video, it's actually only recently that we had the opposite. Just a couple of years ago, demand was so high that we saw massively skyrocketing premiums, and there were coin shops offering $5 or even $6 an ounce over spot just to buy it from you. For example, take a look at this. Now, this is what's called the Wayback Machine. This is the Internet Archive, and we are going to scroll in. Now, if you'll look up here at the top, you'll see this archive is from April 13th of 2022. On April 13th, they were selling 90% silver as low as, and keep in mind that's if you buy quantity, $244 per $10 face value, or $24.46 per dollar. Now, if you think that seems cheap, keep in mind it actually wasn't cheap at all, because April 13th of 2022, spot price, as you can see, was only $25.67. So if we take $25.67 and multiply that by 0.715, you can see we only get $18.35 per dollar. So if we subtract our $24.46, you can see what they were actually selling it for was $6.10 per dollar over melt price. And multiplied by 1.4, that means they were selling it for $8.55 over spot. And $8 an ounce over spot per ounce is actually pretty low. There were times where it got quite a bit higher than that. That was just one snip. And like I'd said, there were some shops offering as high as $5 or $6 an ounce over spot just to buy it. Maybe not April of 2022, but during that time period. So in other words, and just to summarize, even wholesalers are selling quite a bit back of spot to get dealers to buy it from them. And that's because dealers are not probably buying much of it from them right now, because there's not a whole lot of demand. In fact, many shops are shipping it off to the wholesalers because they have so many people walking through the door and selling it to them. So the demand is definitely low, and we talked about the reasons why that may be in this video. But I would like to know what you think. Why do you think the demand for 90% is so low? Is there something I missed or something you want to add? Leave a comment down below. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video and if you like my content, do me a favor and make sure you are subscribed, because it really helps me out. And other than that, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. So don't forget to hit that thumbs up, and we'll see you next time.